It's Lori. I know it's been a while since I've been on. Well, at least it's been a few days, but I feel like it's been a while because I really miss you guys. You guys are awesome. I love the YouTube subscribers that I have. But anyway, I wanted to talk tonight about. We know how the veil is getting thinner. We know that there has been, it seems as if there's been a lot more paranormal activity, people that don't normally have any kind of experiences are experiencing things. They're feeling like something's going on. They're feeling like there's spirits around them. They're feeling maybe shadows, maybe communication. They're hearing things. They're having dreams, that kind of thing. And I know that if you're already interested in it, it seems like it can be overwhelming. And sometimes this stuff isn't always good. Sometimes it can seem good. Just because something or someone says they're of the light doesn't necessarily mean they are. And I know that I've said this over and over and over, and I'm sure for my students here, like, here she goes again. She's talking about how we have to be careful, but even more so now. The veil is so thin. It's sheer almost, like these curtains. It's almost sheer like that, where there are so many things going on. And I can tell you from firsthand experience when, and I'm not going to go through my whole life story, but just quickly, for those of you that don't know me, I was born gifted. I heard voices. I was connected to the spirit realm as long as I can remember. And I used to say that I was sick because even back then I knew that it was different. I knew that people didn't experience that. And for a long time, I tried to live quote unquote normal until I finally gave into it. I talked to my husband about it, and I just accepted it. And I always felt a pull. I think every human being has an innate longing for the Lord, and no matter what your beliefs are, I think it comes out in different ways, maybe through the supernatural or whatever. I mean, I know some people are very much of this world. They don't even think about spiritual things. But I think that it gets deadened somewhere along the line, maybe from the world, from experiences, that sort of thing. And we all are molded by our experiences. However, there recently, people that maybe not even had an interest at all are now seeing shadow people or having experiences, or something weird's going on, and they're like, okay, something's got to give here. And many, not all, but many are thinking that it has something to do with the spirit realm. And even before this thinning, and I tend to believe, and call me crazy if you will, but that some kind of portal has been opened, or because the veil is so thin, more negative entities have gotten through, or possibly they're just stronger. I'm not really sure. I'm not going to speak on it because I don't know, and I'm not going to pretend to know something that I don't know. But in my opinion, something more is going on. I know that it's pretty much common knowledge that there's a shift going on, but it's not all good. Now, somebody had mentioned the Christ consciousness to me, and that brings me to, along my journey, I have gone from not knowing any different than a boxed in religion to breaking free of that, believing that I knew the Lord, but moving towards the New Age movement. And I was in that for quite some time. And in the New Age movement, I felt very close to God, to Source. I felt the law of attraction and those laws, I mean, get them to work like that. But it leads me to the danger zone, okay? It took me a while to come around. I went full circle around to the truth. And it leads me to the danger zone, what I wanted to talk about tonight. If you just look at, if you're dealing with entities or energies, like if you feel like you've got something in your house, or maybe you think you've opened up enough and now you're talking with loved ones or your angel or your guides or whatever, I just want you to please check your own faith every night. Make sure that you're standing in faith. Make sure that you're standing firm, because that's going to be your protection. And how you'll know that is that you're able to forgive easily. You know, if somebody does something horrendous to you, it's never easy to forgive. But if you find yourself full of rage, full of anger, wanting vengeance, unable to let it go, you're not walking in your faith, okay? Um, if you have a hard time with gratitude, if you're not, if you're totally self-focused, those are things that could be indicators that you're not. Even if, you know, a lot of times we buy into lies, and so you could feel like you're really at a high vibration and you're, you know, you're doing everything you're supposed to do and blah blah blah, and you're really not. So just really make sure you're standing firm in your faith and that you're close to God, because that's where your protection lies, especially with the veil being thinner. I have worked with entities, energies, entities, demonic, negative, not always believing they were negative, but I've worked with them all my life. Well, all my adult life. People have called me. I mean, I had them around me as a child, but I can't say I worked with them. I mean, I was a child. I didn't know. But all my adult life, you know, people call me. I help cleanse their homes. I help cleanse them, help them get them back on the right track. I work, I live with one foot in the spirit realm and one foot in this world. And believe me, sometimes I'd rather be in the spirit realm. But lately, there's a lot more. There's always been positive and negative, but lately, there's a lot more negative. And we deal with powers and principalities, not just. Don't get fooled into thinking that the spirit realm is nothing, you know, nothing, no big deal. You can deal with it. It's just fun. It's just entertaining. Don't fall into that trap, because although it can be entertaining, it's dangerous. It's very dangerous. And I remember, I'll never forget when I told a client, this was several years back, a client had asked me, she was very interested in getting, you know, opening up her own abilities. And that's one of the things that I teach is I can't teach you how to have an ability or a gift, but I can teach you how to open up your own natural one. And I teach that. And she had messaged me or something and asked me about certain things. And she was reading books and doing things. And I said to her, I said, please do me a favor and don't just read a book and try it on your own. Find somebody that you trust that is firm in their faith, that can guide you, that can mentor you, that can teach you. It doesn't have to be me, but find somebody that you trust. And when you find that person, research them and make sure that they are strong in their faith. And she said thank you or whatever. And then she told me later, I don't know, a few months later, I was doing I don't know what it was, but I had ran into her somewhere. I was doing an event or something. And she said, you know, she confessed to me that she thought that I was just trying to sign her up to make some money. But she realized shortly after, thank God, that I wasn't, that I was telling her that for her own protection. Because all too often people will say, okay, I got it. I read a book, I watched a video. Um, and now I'm doing these things and it seems to be working. It always starts out positive. These things don't, even if they're on the attack and they want to consume you, they don't start out that way. That's what I try to get to people. And then there are some people who call themselves teachers, some people who call themselves gifted, and they're simply not. We have truly gifted people, truly deep in their faith, and they're teachers and they're there for you and they're great. Then we have people that may be gifted but they're walking with the negative and they don't even know it. Then we have people that are gifted but they walk in with the negative and they do know it. And then we have people that are scam artists. So it's really, you got to be really really careful, because whether it's a scam artist, somebody walking in the negative, you're going to get hurt. You're opening yourself up to a world that you don't even have a clue about if you've never dealt with it. Okay, because it's way worse than people of this world getting on you, which can be part of the problem if this does happen to you. I wanted to bring up just a few examples. Now, these are people that have ended up making a lot of money off it, maybe gotten famous or at least a little famous off it. You know, I often get asked the question, with your gift and how many people you helped, you should be loaded. And I've asked that question to God. I'm like, okay, why am I always under attack? Why is this, you know, why? Well, this is part of my answer, I think, because it's a fine line. Now, I have to charge for sessions because I get so wiped out that I can't do a 9 to 5 job. So I have to charge for it. Believe me, I'd rather not. I would rather have be independently wealthy and not have to charge. But I do, and that's just what it is. And what I charge you for is my time. So anyway, um, let's think about some of these people that and what they've gone through, and then maybe you can relate it to some people that you might know, and you look at it and go, maybe it is a spirit. Because remember, we fight not against flesh and blood, but instead against powers and principalities, because what's driving these people. It's the motivating force that we fight against, not the person. Okay, does that make sense? um what's the name of that show? Paranormal State. Paranormal State. Ryan Buell. I like Ryan, or I did like Ryan. I still like Ryan. He was a young kid. I don't know how old he was when he started, but he's still young. I'm not sure how old he is, but he can't be any older than 30 something. And he had this show, and he started it, Penn State. They all went to Penn State. They all had this paranormal club or whatever, and then they started this show, and they went around to different places and investigated hauntings. And one thing I noticed about his show when it was on is that he would have all different um, faiths come in. And don't get me wrong, I'm not downing any faiths, but what that told me is he did not have a strong, firm grasp on his own faith. Um, he had a lot of Catholic rituals. Then he'd have Native American rituals. Then he'd have, um, I don't know. I didn't watch the show all that much, but he had one girl on there. What's her name? Michelle Belanger. I think she claims to be, I don't know, a vampire. I heard that. I don't know if it's true or not. Um, what I'm saying is a whole bunch of different things, So he was eclectic, and which tells me if you're eclectic, you don't know the truth. Which again, back to the New Age movement, we accepted everything. It's just all one big thing. Not true. There is absolute truth, and if you're not firm in the absolute truth, then you're not protected. Well, what ended up happening to him is he took a lot of money and didn't show up for events. Um, I don't know if this is true, and I don't want to say something as fact if it's not a fact, but I heard that he has a drug problem. I do know he got arrested. Him and another guy, Serge, that was on the show. My whole point is, and then this girl, Michelle Belanger, who was on the show with him several times, she was like a psychic medium or something, and Chip Coffey, who was another psychic medium or something. Both of them distanced themselves from Ryan and Serge as soon as this all happened. Now, I understand they want to distance themselves from, Ryan taking money from the fans and then not coming through. I think he got arrested for like stealing a rent a car or something like that. And I get it. I get why they want to say, hey, I didn't steal anything from you. I get that. But they seem to have this rapport. And, I don't know about Chip Coffey. I don't know what his career was like before Ryan. But I don't think anybody would have heard about Michelle if it weren't for Ryan. And to immediately just diss this person, I thought, well, that's nice. That's really nice. Um, they're not saying, hey, help Ryan. They're from what I read, they're like, want no part of him. I don't know what he did. I'm not saying that what he did was right. What I'm saying, this is my point. Okay, so, and I'll get to that. And there's the other guy, Brian. I can't remember his last name. Brian is like Harnoy or something like that. From Ghost Hunters. Remember Ghost Hunters? I used to love those guys. What were their names? Oh gosh, I can't remember. I can't remember their names. But I love them. The bald guy and then the guy with the dark hair. Um, it wasn't one of them. It's another guy that worked on the crew. And this was quite a while ago, like 2012, 2013, maybe. I don't even know for sure. Again, I don't watch these shows, but he got really depressed and he went missing for a while. And he wrote like this note, which was taken to be a suicide note. He did not commit suicide, as far as I know. He was found, but he went through massive depression. Um, I don't know what his history was before he started investigating and stuff. But there again, he's dealing with spirits all the time. I don't know what his faith is either. I don't want to say he didn't have a faith, but he opened himself up to the spirit realm, you know. And then there's Mark Constantino. And I don't know if his wife's name was Rachel or Raquel, but he killed her and then committed suicide. And they were on, what was it? Was it Ghost Adventures? Or I think they were on Ghost Adventures. They could have been on Paranormal State, but I think it was Ghost Adventures. Zach Bagan and one of his crew, the Ghost Adventures, are having like this big argument now. And then he bought a house, which worries me about Zach. He bought a house, another one, another young guy like Ryan. I bought it really cheap because it was supposed to be haunted, and supposedly it really is, and it's got demons in it. Well, he bought the house in order to make a show, to be entertaining, to make some money. He put himself right in the danger zone. My whole point in this is you take a kid like Ryan, who I think had a pretty good life. I can't say that for sure. I don't know him personally, but I think his life was probably pretty good. Um, he had this interest in the paranormal. He's obviously pretty smart. He had started this group, then he went into production, then he got a TV station to pick it up, brought in these other people, and now, you know, you can say it's the fame that and the money, the overwhelming money and the fame that had him do drugs or whatever he did. I think there's heroin involved. I say it's a spirit. It's a spirit whispering in your ear, and it whispers in your ear to the point where you don't even know. You don't know you're following that spirit. You think that what you're doing is okay because the spirit will convince you that we're all here just for lessons. There is no right and wrong. It's all the way you look at it. There's no such thing as evil, it's only a perception. There is no absolute truth. The spirit realm is basically like here for you. There's no real evil. Um, and although it is true that if your house is haunted, it's your domain, you tell them to leave. But if you're dealing with a demon, you've got to bring in somebody who's strong in their faith. You can do it yourself, but you've got to be grounded in your faith. And if you're frightened at all, you've got to get somebody who isn't. And like I said, they were bringing in all different things just to kind of do whatever. And it was mostly for entertainment. But I think demonic entities got to Ryan. I think demonic entities got to that guy, Brian, and he almost took his own life. There is a spirit of suicide, you know. I think demonic entities got to Mark and Raquel. From what I heard, she was with another guy. Don't know if that's true or not. Doesn't make it right that he killed her. I don't know the whole deal. I know her daughter spoke up and said that she was the abusive one. Don't know any of it's true. Don't want to state it as fact. I don't want to be told that I stated it as fact. But what I think is demonic entities got to them too, because what happens is they don't come in like these scary forms. Sometimes they do, but most of the time it's very quietly and very easily. They get you to start believing, well, that's okay. Just go do that. That's all right. What kind of God would care about that? So you go do it. And then that's okay. And you go do it. And you do, and you do, and you do. And before you know it, you're so far away from God that you have left yourself wide open to these demon entities to get to you. So my whole point being, please, please, please be extra, extra careful, especially with the veil being so thin. All right, I'll make another video soon. I hope you guys had a great weekend, and I will talk to you in the next video.